Hey, welcome back. Let's get started. Let's find out who acts first. Sort of thinking I'd rather it be China because we don't have Russia relationship up, but it doesn't matter. Roll a 9. It is China. So we're going to put that on, show that they acted, or they will act. And yes, let's grab our stuff and let's rock and roll. Just when you're starting to like how things are, your enemy steps in and tries to ruin everything. If currently at posture 1 and some of flipped tension counters is 5 or more, this could be a problem. No effect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, did we get lucky. So they stay at 1 posture. If their economy is 3 or 4, no, they got really good economy right now. For every increment of 5, they get an anti-US. Then remove all tension and replace with half. So they're going to get 1, 2, 3. Of course. 1, 2, 3. You know, it might be easier to just pile them all up here. 1, 2, 3. It's just hard to see how many there are. Okay, so that is done. Strategic capabilities. Make 2 checks. 1 to 4 succeeds if they're behind by 2 or more. So this is 1. They're behind by 2 or more here too. Oh, do I get to pick? Attempt to improve each of those areas once until you're out of. If there are more than 2 or 3 areas, determine randomly. Okay, so there's 3 of them. They're going to do 2 of the 3. So we're going to roll for which one they're not going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're not going to go after this one. This is a 1 to 4, 1 to 4. Okay. Whoops, wrong one. And then the cyber warfare. Oh, come on, I really wanted them to. Oh, they were 3 behind. Never mind. Still, I wanted them to fail, but that's okay. They succeeded at both. Espionage. They are at posture 1. Relations is at 3. So they're just going to try one time. Okay, we're going to roll a d10 for them. An 8 is excellent. So no relationship is estranged. This is with us. We're very close with everyone, so we ignore the next one. They get a +2 because our cyber warfare is 2 higher than theirs. So that becomes a 10. That's it. They get a 10. And a 10 for them is horrible. They fail. Place a free DARPA raid rapid capability counter on a cyber warfare track and a +2 DRM to next espionage counter on China. So this is awesome. So they get a +2 DRM to next espionage. Now, I don't know what to do about the DARPA thing, because we already have one on that, so I don't think there's a rule that says you can't have two on the same item. Because I now have three of them. I would have liked to have moved one to maybe somewhere else, but with both of these here, we're gonna pop up to 7 like it's nothing. It does specifically say cyber warfare. Since I already had one there, here, let me just check. Okay, so I was thinking you get a DARPA here. I was thinking I get to move one elsewhere. A non-designer person says you just don't get the DARPA if you already have one there, which I think is a little weak. So I'm going to house rule this. I'm going to move it. We'll put it elsewhere. And, I'll put it on Space Warfare. So now we have 3 of them. I believe if the espionage gives you a DARPA, you should take it. And if you're only allowed to have 1 DARPA per tech or capability, that's fine. I'll just move the other one. Because the military gave us capabilities. So, anyways, it just allows us to reallocate our military resources to another DARPA. Alright, and I fully understand. The guy on Board Game Geek was adamant that that's correct. I just don't like it, so I'm going to house rule it. So if you're watching from home, do whatever you prefer. Okay, we got to keep going with the Russia. So their espionage. Oh, this was China. I'm sorry. Their espionage really backfired on them. So now they're going to try to improve their economy. It's already smoking. And they rolled a 1, which is good for them. Yeah, they just moved to max level. So they're going to get 8 actions. Holy buckets. Alright, so yes, they get 8 actions. This makes it 7. That is hurtful. That part. Their economy is doing too well. Alright, so we gotta do 7 actions. We will set this to 6. First action. Terror in Central South Asia. If there are 5 total terror groups, use 1 to remove 1. There's not 5. Quell Uprising. A 7 is no good. A lower roll would have meant that they spent an action. They're not at war. They have no sanctions. They're not at war. So their first action is going to be cyber attack. They're at posture 1, so they make 1 attack. So that's a 9. They're targeting Japan, Republic of Korea. And that's for espionage, not cyber. And then roll. They rolled low. So they do succeed. Decrease the ally relationship for Japan or Korea. We roll. Japan's 1 to 5. Alright, so Korea drops. That was one action. One belt, one road.
From the place. We need to leave. Get in there. Get in that portal. Boom, you escaped.
Trending anti-US. This is an action, by the way.
We were starting to take damage from the place collapsing.
So it's dropping to 5. But the action's not over. There's more to it.
15.
Count the number of Belt and Road regions that have either 3 Chinese influence or China bases. If there are 0 or 1 such regions, perform option A. There's one right there in the Middle East.
Are gold items, sell it to the collector. And we can get gold and then we can get loot.
Place 1 China influence counter in the 2 Belt and Road regions where China has the fewest influence. So we're looking at Asia Pacific. There's 1. 2 in Central. 3 in the Middle East.
You gotta click on the item to start with.
Eastern Europe has 0. South America has 2. Is Africa on the list?
Well, is it like
South America is not on the list. Africa and the Eurozone. So 1,
you'll take both of them?
2. Those are the 2 that get them. So that makes China go up by 2. They're up to 10. Alright, next action. Expand China's influence in neighboring regions. If any regions have 3 or more, create a China base. Alright, so that's the one they're going to do first. Actions drop to 4. And yeah, China gets their first base.
It's either to one or to the other.
The bases are bad because those can create losing conditions. And every time somebody acts, we're supposed to check that. So, like for example, with China, auto loss is if they have 15 or more influence. On the map. Okay, so that's that for that one. Reinforce allies. Attempt the first 2 options where conditions are met. If less than 2, perform only those which apply. So is their relative strength on Japan or India equal or lower? I don't think it is. They got advantage in that one. They got advantage in both. Pakistan's not at war with India.
Well, eventually you can trade
India-Pakistan track
legendary
is 3 or higher.
once you hit level
Reduce tensions with India. Roll D10. This is excellent because that's also consuming an action,
purchasing gear
and it might even be helping me.
from
So they rolled a 3.
or you can what's it called? Give me gold and I'll give you
Decrease India-Pakistan track by 1 bucks. Ah, but they get an influence. So that does drop 1. This is dangerously close.
Oh no, you can. You can buy items from the marketplace. Can you put your gear score down? So how massive
Secure the sea lanes.
gear score? So you need to remove equipment that you have. So you can bring it down to below 25 so we can get in with lobbies that don't have high gear people.
So there's not 2 influence counters, so they can't do that one. It says if you don't immediately place, reduce
Go to merchant.
alignment in Asia Pacific by one full box. This is horrible. So we drop back down to 5. And yeah,
Go for it.
my relations
It's horrible.
with China drop.
Okay, we have less than a minute. Can we please like start doing this? Because I want to do this map. This map. I want to do this map. Let's hurry up here. Stash. Good. Exit. Stash. Stash.
Okay, that counts as an action though.
Stash. Hit stash. Good. Now put that away. Shift right click. Yep. Put your.
Alright, so
Shift right click. Your
attempt to expand China's influence in Central and South America.
chest piece away. Your chest piece away. Put your helmet away. Put your boots away. Put your gloves away.
If regional alignment is less than 7, and there's 0 or 2
Go to base gear.
in Central America.
Equip base gear.
That is true.
Good. Now type escape and ready up. What? So, matchmaking.
South America is not 7 or more.
Depends on how good your gear.
There is 2 or more influence in South America.
Because then we'll get smoked. Because
Alright, so China gets another one.
under 25, everyone goes in with that type of gear skill.
I'm
26
losing.
25 to
I'm gonna lose, even though I think I'm doing well.
So,
Alright, that was another action.
you'll be matched with the highest gear rated people. And some of those gear rated people have gear ratings of 700. Because they have full legendary.
Veto UN sanctions, oil partnerships.
They will be,
This one will be the last action.
yeah, will be matched with those who have
A
700.
9. They get an influence in the Middle East.
And then there's also a thing in this game where if you do like duos or something,
They are one closer to ending the game.
in gear, and then maximize one person.
So this was a regional alignment check, I believe. Let me double check,
So what I mean by that is,
which I passed. Alright, so that's it.
so let's say someone gets there.
That was still deadly. I mean, I know you only do this once a
For
turn, but man, oh man,
yeah, so like
a lot of influence out there.
what you'll do is you'll bring in no gear for yourself, but you'll bring
Now
in
we get to
all
do any 3 actions, and this is where, yeah, I gotta fix some things. First of all, we're gonna do the Diplo action to improve NATO. So let's roll for that.
still be within the same gear score because they're
And I rolled a 2, which is gonna be more than succeed.
but because there's multiple of them,
So if we go to the Diplo section,
on that one person is like 500.
we want to de-escalate a conflict. So on our 1 or 2, decrease conflict track by 1, and put a trending pro-US counter. Remove 1 tension from each country involved, and +1 public approval. So it's actually pretty good. We were doing NATO,
So yeah, there's a lot of
so
defenses in this game.
that means this moves up to 8, which is fantastic. So that goes up by 1. I already forgot what else happens. Decrease the conflict box. Remove 1 tension from everybody involved. So NATO will lose a tension. And so will Russia. And NATO and Russia
Well,
improve.
I have good gear,
That's what we wanted. We wanted some buffer. Okay, that was one of our actions.
really good at the game.
Very, very important.
Lose that gear.
Another action is we want to get rid of influence where we can. We have a stability of 6, but the crisis is not at 0.
Second of all, you don't have
But here we got stability of 7, so let's go ahead and roll. A 10 is not going to cut the mustard. So I'm going to spend an AP to reroll. A 5 does. So we get rid of that influence. I'm going after the low-hanging fruit, because I need to get the cushion in place here. Here's another one. With a 6, I need to be at a 0. Same here. I'm not quite high enough here. I'm at a 7, so I can start removing from here, so I will. Let's go after China first. The 8's not going to cut the mustard. We're going to reroll.
This game is very like
A 1.
straight,
Ooh,
and you
a 1 might actually be even better. So what's the action? Remove influence.
because it's like you hit something hard.
Yeah, less than or equal to 6, remove 1.
I hit the wall.
That's it. That's fine. We still at least get rid of one of them. And that moves China down again. Alright, that makes 3 actions. Now we feel the pain. Although we have gotten lucky so far. 2. Mostly lucky. There's some terrorism in here. First one, economic crisis in China. That is a great event. Stocks and assets plummet, decrease their track by 1, and they get a -1 AP counter. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. We want to be your friend, China, but we want you to suffer. Place a worsening economy counter on the US track, because nothing happens in a vacuum. Then you can see they would decline. Or they can keep. That's a good cascading event to have, because it mostly impacts them and not me. That's what I like most about that one. Alright, next one. Hezbollah. Oh no. One regional crisis in the Middle East. 2 tensions on Israel.
Yeah.
As if they didn't already have enough.
Really in depth until it comes to water and fall damage.
They have a million. Look at that. Between them and South Korea, there's some war being declared pretty soon. Roll D10 for Israeli response. I'm assuming lower is better. Retaliatory air strikes increase Israel neighbor conflict track by 1 box.
Yeah, I know. Torch is underwater too.
And this one goes into the reshuffle pile. Okay, that is done. It's a plus. Draw another one. 2 more. 1, 2.
Hey, do you have a health potion?
Anti-US rebel leader dies. Roll a d10, choose a random region. So we chose 3. Central America. Roll again. We got an 8. Decrease any level of terror group by 1 level. If regional alignment is 5 or higher, put a trending pro. It is 5 or higher. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one, but it's still 5 or higher. And we get to remove 1 or reduce 1. Decrease any one by 1 level. I'm going to just get rid of 1 outright. Alright, that wasn't a bad card. That gets reshuffled. Next one. Oh, no good, no good. +1 domestic crisis. If your cybersecurity is greater than equal both China and Russia, ignore the rest of this card and discard. Yes.
Can you help me with this guy?
I'm assuming I still do the media slant though. It doesn't matter. My public approval is as high as it goes. I would just make it higher. Alright, so we did 2 of them. Now we got 1 more. A regional summit. I don't remember regional summits.
Yeah, use your health potions. That's its use.
I think that's one of the
Use your health potions and then use your bandages.
charts I don't use very
Go on
often.
my body and take my soul.
We get together and do a kumbaya session. Yep, there it is. Page 3. Regional summit.
Take my chest piece off, take my soul, put it in your 3.
When you get this, roll a d10 to select the region for the summit.
Back to where we came from.
3. Central America is getting all the focus these days. Okay. Determine the type of summit.
Use the health potion.
Is the regional crisis 2 or higher?
Revive me so we can take all this loot.
Yes.
Hurry up, you only have 6 minutes.
Then it's a security summit.
Back door.
Right, and then we just roll again.
Yes. You should heal yourself all the way up to full.
A
Go
9.
in the water. Go in the water.
No progress. Well, hold on.
Go over to that thing. And then hit 3 on it, and then use that.
Oh, we had to make a regional alignment check.
When you said
So if that's used for my regional alignment check, I failed. Because the 9 is higher than the 5.
don't look
So now I roll, and because I failed the regional alignment check, I have to add +1 to whatever I roll. A 10 is even worse. Jesus Louises. That's an 11. I could have spent some presidential APs. I have no very close allies. There's no wars. Or rogue states or level 4 terror groups. And there's China influence, so that makes it, yeah, no progress. U.S. is blamed. The pro-U.S. counter is removed. Remove 1 UN goodwill. If not, -1 world opinion. Jesus, this regional summit sucks. Doesn't help that I rolled a 10.
I'm surprised you're able to kill that guy.
Okay, so where did I put the? Oh, there it is. It blended right in. Okay, now we got an ally rogue group. I'm gonna shuffle.
You can totally do that. There's actually a warlock build that
Group D.
you can
That is still one of my favorite mechanics of this game. It's a really well done way to divide up the world and have them act in different phases. Alright, Group D. Canada goes first. They get to do 2 joint actions. Canada can affect Eurozone or Central or South America.
no, we're not going.
I'm pretty sure Canada can do our area too. It's just that what it's saying is they can only do their own zone, whereas Canada can do multiple zones. So they can do. It says these allies act only in their region, except for Canada, who can affect the Eurozone or Central or South America. I guess you could see it as Canada can't do our region, CONUS. So they can do here, here, or there. I don't think they can remove influence markers. They can do humanitarian aid and stabilize regions, which stabilizing would be nice. They have low success rate though. Canada does have 1 tension.
Okay, I will, but come over here. Let's get you out. Go through this.
I'm just looking at my options here. So really that's stabilize a region. I roll a d10 on a 1 to 4 it succeeds unless there's 0 regional crisis. So what I think we're going to try to do is humanitarian aid to reduce the regional crisis of an area. Like I could this to 0 and then I can try to stabilize it, which would move it up. Or like this area is really bad, except they can't affect those areas. They can just do these 3. They're going to try to stabilize Central America. That is a fail. That is also a fail. So good job, Canada. It did nothing. They get a +2 to their next roll, which is a 7. There is no Russia influence in the Eurozone. Is the Russia-NATO conflict status greater than 1? Yes, they get a +1. So that becomes an 8. And then the 2 from the tension makes it a 10. They're going to do a joint anti-terror campaign, reduce 1 group in CONUS, Central America or South America by 1 level. We're going to do the CONUS. So they got rid of one of those for us. Now that is awesome, Canada. Okay, next up is the Gulf states. So these guys have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 tension markers. But I think they need to focus on their area. I'm not worried about the tension. So for the joint actions, they can reduce their regional crisis, and they need to try to get the stability up. So we're going to do crisis first. That's a 2. We're going to reduce that to a 2. Then let's try to get the stability up. They need a 1 through 4. Oh man, that was perfect. I got that back up to a 4. So this is a maximum 5 terror groups. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is 5 markers. 1, 2, 3. That's what they get back. And they're adding 6 to this roll. I was going to say, if they roll a 10, that's, I don't even need to do any more DRMs. 4 and 6 is 10. They get half of the Iran conflict track. Rounded down. So they get 1 that's 11. And no one's at war. So they're at 11. They are going to increase relative strength versus Iran by 1 in their favor. So this moves down. And
also we are fighting people that don't really know what
increases their conflict status by 1. If this causes war, it's an air naval war.
press E and then right click.
Okay, it does not. But it gets them close. Alright, and then we keep going. We did Saudi Arabia.
Is that really what happened?
Gulf states, now rogue.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so by the way, Hellfire is really slow with it. Okay.
Okay, roll a d10. We rolled a 10. North Korea or Iran, whichever has more tension counters, acts. If tied, randomly choose. Roll d10 and so Iran's in Group A and North Korea's in Group B. They're both bad. So North Korea is 1, 2, 3. Iran, that's Israel. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Iran's the winner. So Group A, we're gonna roll for Iran. I'm just gonna bring these over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a +7. Shuffle, shuffle. 1, 3 is gonna go back on. If they get a +7, that is horrible. Because it's Iran. Oh no. I would have rather a regular rogue state acted. That means they're moving up their nuke track. +7. 9 + 7 is 16. I'm not even going to bother with the DRMs. They blow it out of the water. So, air missile war versus Israel. So one of the problems is this also happens. Uh-oh. I lose, don't I? That's an auto loss. That's right, I failed to lower it. Or is that auto loss at like a certain check in the game?
Don't follow him.
That's -1 stability in the Middle East. We just worked hard to get that improved. 2 tensions on Iran, Saudi Arabia, and 3 on Israel.
Help, I'm lagging again. I'm dead.
So 2 on Iran,
No, we're both lagging again.
2 on Saudi
No,
Arabia,
it's not dead.
3 on Israel, who has 1,000,000. I lose 3 APs.
Stop.
1, 2, 3.
Holy, this freaking game. Because the servers suck.
+1 to the Iran-Israel conflict track.
If I get disconnected,
I mean, they're declaring war, so... Alright, I gotta... There's so much that you have to do at one time. The first one is the auto loss condition.
Wait, can I have that surgical kit you picked up? And here, take my bandage. Heal yourself. They keep spawning. So they have pots that will keep spawning them. So you gotta run over to where they're coming from, which is over here, and then take them out.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. I'm struggling to find the section. Yeah, I just lost the game. So when they get to 5, that's okay, but we can't have them go to war. And the Iran track, because we rolled 1,000,000,
Go to the side.
it's an air missile war versus Israel.
So when he attacks,
If Iran has level 5 on nuclear track, it's game over. US auto loss. So I just lost the game. I am so upset. I thought I was doing so well. I was trying to reduce this, but there's only so many opportunities. And the UN is the one place, and then negotiations with Russia or China, or actually Russia. So we were doing so well. I can't even retcon this. I mean, all I can do is say, hey, I'll re-roll the Iran thing so they're not at war. You know, they do get a +7. I mean, that was also bad. So that's a 3 + 7. That puts them at 10. I mean, that's all you can do is you could just say, hey, well, what if I would have rolled differently? I mean, at a 10,
So I want you to.
it's a +1 because our regional alignment's 6 or higher. So it becomes 11. Okay, what that would have done is they would be at 5, like we did, and then that would have increased Israel and the neighbors' conflict status up to a 4, which would have caused a war between them. Oh, I'm sorry. No, no, no. It would have increased the relative strength one towards the neighbors. So we could continue. I mean, from a purist point of view, I lost. I rolled the dice and they declared war on each other and it was over. So this is the part that stinks. Is see this? They were nowhere near it. It's just that, yeah. That or unless it's some kind of air naval war, right? It just says at war. Okay, yeah, we'll continue. We can just assume that I rolled a 3. Everything else is legit. I mean, the only thing that changed was this die roll. But yeah, it shows how close. Like, you can be doing well, but you could still just fall. Alright, and then we're not done. Ally rogue states. I would have been better off if the rogues would have gone instead of letting Iran take another turn. Then we have unstable states. Central South Asia and Asia Pacific. And I think we're going to get to skip because I don't think either of them have one. No, and no. So we skip. So now we move to POTUS Cabinet Focus. This is one of my favorite spots. I'm just going to, I guess we could do it in order. I'm just going to go from top to bottom. So this one I need a 1. I fail. This one I need a 1 or 2. I fail. This one I need a 1 to 5. I pass. Decrease one terror group in the US by 1 level. So it's just a great way to destroy those. Then, if none, I get Homeland Security bump. But that's okay. I'm happy with that. This one, 1 to 3. Fail. This one, 1 to 4. I definitely needed that one. -1 to domestic crisis. And then this one, 1 to 3. Oh, that's perfect. I get 3 APs. So 1, 2, 3. Like so, and then we're on turn 2. Alright, I love that phase. -1 to media relations. 2 domestic actions, and then legislative segment. Well, for the domestic action, I'm going to do the presidential one to push this. So, I'm just trying to find it. It's going to cost me 1 AP.
You want to rush him?
And then it says roll a d6. 5 is not good. It becomes a 4 because I'm approval 60% or greater. That's a failure. So I'm going to spend an AP to roll again. That will do it. I succeed. And I was doing it for the bill, not against. So I just moved this 1 step closer to there, which is what I wanted. And that's 1 action. The next diplomatic action, or domestic, I meant. It is domestic, yes. we have all of our. We got the domestic crisis down again.
No.
I'm okay with that.
Take the,
I know we were going after these guys, but I actually like this Homeland Security thing more. Media relations, all those are okay.
not really. No, it's gray.
We can stimulate the economy to get rid of that economy marker. We can try to improve bipartisanship in Congress. That would only get us to a 1. Yeah, we're going to do that. So let's try it. It's a d6. Oh, I rolled perfect. I rolled absolutely perfect. Yes. A 2 or less, it moves 1 to the right. Okay. Then we do this.
Oh yeah.
So we total our legislative ratings, and as you know, 5 to 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. We're more than 3 ahead of anybody.
The portal, you're done.
I may move that number of bills 1 box in either direction, increasing or decreasing. So I guess I shouldn't have spent money on this. I should have spent it on that one. So I'm going to increase that again.
Bro is a skinhead. If you
Um,
want, we can
when I did my presidential action, I would have moved cybersecurity over and left both those bills there because I would have known that at this step I could move both of them over. So
No,
all of them
I
are.
just
I'm ready to sign all these.
have to carry.
Let's work for the American people. So the number of bills we can pass is just 1.
Let's go in for one round.
So we're going to roll d6 to see who chooses
Right now.
the first bill to pass. Where's the d6? We rolled an even, so that means, whoops. An even is me. So I get to choose. So we're going to go after expanded military. Boom. To attempt to pass a bill, roll a d6 and apply the DRM.
No, we can't.
Oh, that's right. That's what I'm trying to pass.
125.
A 4. But see, since it's in the strong support, that's a -2. So that turns that into a 2. And then if it's in a result of 1 to a 3, the bill's passed and sent to me to sign or veto. So expanded military passed, but it has not been signed yet.
Oh, accept all requests.
For any bill that passed, roll in the effects chart of the passed legislation table in the domestic chart booklet and make an immediate sign or veto decision. If you sign it, place the legislation and implement any effects of the bill. All right. This is exciting. We passed our first bill.
It says accept all requests.
Page 4. So the DRM only changes if it's in the rightmost or leftmost bipartisan cooperation. If I sign opponent legislation, it's -1 party relations. But the bipartisan cooperation moves 1 box to the right. Each time you roll a 1, an adjusted 1, or less, after applying DRMs, it becomes a landmark bill. Add a new congressional friend. Okay, so roll d6, consult the chart below. Determine the quality of the bill, the legacy points you'll receive from it, the consequences if you decide to veto, what the game effects will be. I see. Now, if it's ever an opponent bill, you only get half the legacy points, which makes sense. All right, so we're gonna roll. One or less is best. There is no negative modifier here.
None of
A
those.
2 is really good.
You're gonna find everything that's good in the dungeon and or on the trading market.
So this is considered a good bill.
Level 20.
Base legacy points if I sign is 0.
Just go to the
If I veto, all kinds of stuff happens, but I don't want to veto. This is my bill. And so no legacy points for this, but it's expanded military.
you got less than a minute.
So I gotta find that one. It's number 16.
You can have up to 100.
Alright, so lots of stuff is happening here. Scenario special rules. Don't make a bill quality roll for this bill in sandbox games. This is a special bill that is always considered a landmark bill and thus can be passed only once per game. Passing this bill always results in the following units being moved from the U.S. Military Assets box to the CONUS. 1 heavy, 2 Army Lights, 1 Marine Corps, and 1 carrier. So this is considered a landmark bill. One. See, because there's 2 heavies here. I think these come out somehow, some other way.
I think you're good. Just wait up and
How would those come out? I think it is in the scenario book, I think. So anyways, let me move these over and we'll double check. So what it's saying is we have another Marine Corps, an Army Light, a Heavy, another Air Force, and another Carrier. We have like 2 of everything, and then 1 of the armies. Okay, I gotta pause. I'm gonna look up the scenario book, make sure. Actually, it says it right here. Available only on legislative passage of Bill 16 or Security and Defense Greater Society.
yeah.
So
Just go to merchants and sell all that other stuff.
for Greater Society, that's a different Security and Defense does all kinds of stuff, but it adds a light army, a marine
No. The bandages you can keep.
to the U.S. force pool. So I see the light army, I see the marine. I don't know why the heavy army is there.
No, it's 0.
It does say 2 heavy army. Wonder what causes that heavy army to come over.
Put your green stuff away. No. Your green stuff in your inventory. Put it away. Put it in your stash. And your sword?
Okay, so you do have to look in the scenario book. For the generic scenario, which is what we're doing, it explains it's different than what you see listed in the rulebook. So it is a heavy. It's 2 Army Lights, the Carrier and Marine Corps, but not an Air Force. So these ones stay behind. And then what it says is that if you expand the Security and Defense, which is a Greater Society one, the level 1 is the USMC, the Marine Corps, and the Army Light. And then the level 2 is Army Heavy and the Air Force. So that's what the scenario book is explaining.
You always want to be at full HP.
That makes total sense. So the important thing is I didn't necessarily need all the extra troops, although I think I will make use of them. The bigger thing is We uh, we succeeded at our campaign promise. Okay, so the bill's passed. I signed it. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell me like I get anything for it. It is considered landmark. So additional rewards for passing legislation that is a public priority or administrative priority. Immediately provide the rewards listed below, and it could be both, because if you do a bill that both of them wanted, I don't think they wanted military. So for an administrative priority, what's the one? Oh, I see. If it's administrative priority number 1, 2, or 3, it's none of those. It's the campaign promise. Okay. Campaign promise. You receive the following effects. So we gotta roll die. Always have to roll die. Low number is best. And 8 is not good. Alright. -1 public approval. -1 party relations. We dropped to 5 friends. We're okay. But I still fulfilled it. If you pass a landmark bill, add a new congressional friend. I'm going to draw it even though we have to lose a friend. This one might be better. See how this one's moderate? I might be willing to get rid of a radical. So that way we can have more moderates than radicals. The problem is, it's a weak moderate. It only has 1 point. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. I still don't have more though. I have 3 to 4. Then I have to roll d6 against the maneuvering and drama table.
Fall. If you fall, you're dead. Don't hold the halberd.
The 4. There is a DRM for this. Cooperation's not in the right or left 2 boxes.
Watch out for traps on the ground.
We get a -1 because we have an RWC of 7 or greater. And public approval greater than 60%. So we get a -2. That drops to a 2. It drops to a 1 because our friends outnumber opponents.
Okay, when you hold down items,
So we're down to a 1.
it lowers your move speed. So that halberd was literally the
Opponents
worst
waver.
force to jump across with.
If RWC is 7 or higher, which it is,
Like, out of any option, you could
plus 2 APs.
choose the worst one.
That's always fantastic. Remove 1 opponent from the opponent box. Place it back in the cup.
It's just because you actually,
Look at this. We're
I don't know,
gonna have more moderates now.
a couple of new people,
I'm gonna get rid of the one that has a value of 3.
they just stand in the traps because they're stupid.
1, 2, 3 moderates to 3 radicals. It's now even.
He learns from his mistakes. I forget. It's not U4. It's not Eclipse.
And it says draw or add 1 new friend.
It's okay.
Oh no, only if there's no opponents. I'm sorry. I'm good with that. That's a good one. Alright. Remove all bills currently cannot be passed. You can never have more than 5 bills in a pending bills section. So we're split. Roll d6. Who gets to suggest the first bill? I do. So our number 1 priority is cybersecurity, which is already out there. We have energy independence, infrastructure upgrades, and none of us... I can see now why we want to match. No, energy independence, I'm sorry. Both of those are up here. So let's do that one. It's going to show up there. All right. So the media ratings for us blow them out of the water. We have massive media ratings. So we do go up public approval equal to our media rating. And then because we're at +3, we get to improve media relations by 1. There's no scandal. If there are more moderates and radicals, move right. If there's more radicals, otherwise no change. So the one thing we did do is we finally have as many moderates as we do radicals. So we prevented this from moving to the left, which it was always doing prior. Perform one immediate free action of any type for each of your bills.
Oh, it makes you take less damage.
So we did pass something, so we get an immediate action. What should that immediate action be? I can restore this back up to 6, which would help. There's a lot of things I wanted to do. I want to get this back up. I need to get this down. It's a free action.
No, it's the servers.
We're currently right here. There's diplomatic actions here and military. There's 4 of them. So I'm going to be able to do stuff out here. So I probably want to do a domestic one. We got a lot of our bills ready to be signed. I could try to move this again. I think I'm going to go with the easy one, which is that one. Because it's a guarantee. I don't have to roll anything. Keep that as high as it can be. This would be nice to move up.
So you're starting to get the hang of it, but when he attacks,
Since it's a free action, I'll take the free
your
stuff.
weapons are a lot longer range.
Okay, so then we move down. We're going to draw a chit because we're back to this nonsense. And we're drawing 2 crisis cards. 1, 2. Here we go. Fed to raise interest rates. Make a state of economy check. A 7 is a pass. Because we are at 7, baby. So improve economy means that goes away. That was perfect. And +1 public approval. And then make a relations with Congress check. We passed. This goes back in the shuffle. And then the next one. Uh-oh. Make 2d10 rolls. Select 2 conflict tracks. Increase each of them. Ooh. First one is an 8. Second one is a 4. Did we lose again? Okay, Israel's going to war. Russia and Ukraine are getting close. We can have Israel and Iran. That's the one that I was worried about. Israel and neighbors going to war. So we'll have to trigger that one.
There's other people we should be.
DM5 or WM5.
Watch out. Back up.
Okay. So it's war number 1. And we'll put it there. So it shows that Israel's at war. None of these apply. Rogue state is fine. So it is Israel is the... That's right, I don't know who the attacker is, so let's roll. I didn't say. Israel's 1 to 3. Okay, Israel's the attacker. And then it's just a neighbor. Oh, that's right. We roll to see who the neighbor is. It's up here. So what did I just roll? Because I did just roll. I rolled an 8. So that would be Hezbollah and Hamas. Oh. So Hezbollah and Hamas. Why am I not seeing it anywhere? There's Hamas. And there's Hezbollah. So it's with both of them. Which I think means they get to double their strength. So it's going to be combined, conflict, stalemate, and now I'm going to move to the world charts. So Hezbollah is a 3, and Hamas is a 2. So we'll just put 5 on here. Or does that mean it's 2 different wars? I bet that means that's 2 different wars. See, that's Hezbollah and Hamas. Yeah, that's 2 different wars, folks. So Hezbollah is up here. They're 3. Hamas is a 2. And Israel's at war with 2 people. That's how that works. I bet you that's how you set it up. So this is also in the middle, and then air ground. And then also there's something else that I had just thought of when I was back over here, and I can't remember what it is now. I thought of it when I was here. Oh, I gotta grab the 2. They're at war with 2 different people. Look at all those tension markers. Jesus. Okay, then how much does Israel have? Israel 8. Alright. That's how that works. And then we got to progress these wars. So, let's do war number 1. That's a 4-1. And then there's a still DRM that goes with it. So we rolled a 6. There's no surprise, at least I don't think there is. No US war, so all this stuff goes away. They get a +1 because Russia and China has influence. So that becomes a 7. That's not good, but the 4-1 odds is a 7 would have been disastrous. Well, an 8 would have been disastrous, but they do move 1 to the left. And then these, oh, they lose 2 power, so they actually got destroyed. Hamas is destroyed. Yeah, it is. So now I go to okay, so we applied the results. +1 regional crisis. So the Middle East moves up. This is going to move up again. We're going to get a major crisis because of this. If the move result is greater than the number needed to move the conflict status, you've won an overwhelming victory. I know there's somewhere in here that says oh, I'm pretty sure there's somewhere in here that says if you completely annihilate their strength, it's a win. Just for whatever reason, I'm not seeing it. Hmm. I mean, I know this is a U.S. ally win. Oh, here we go. It's on the combat chart. If one side has 0 strength at the beginning or end of a war progress roll, that side immediately loses the war regardless of the status. Yeah. So the U.S. ally wins. So it says move allies conflict track back to 2. Which is interesting because they're still at war with the other one. But we will do that. It moves back to 2. See this? Relative strength of +1. It doesn't matter here. But this is actually a 9. That's going to matter there. Okay, continuing. Adjust relative strength by 1 in allies' favor. So since they won, this goes back up to +2. And technically speaking, you set up the wars one at a time. Technically speaking, that is now a 10. Alright, keep going. +1 AP counter on the ally. Good, because they need it. +1 public approval. If it was already very close, 1 legacy point. So we're going to get a legacy point for that. Alright, so they win that one. So now we move to the next one. And again, the DRMs, this is 3 to 1. 3 higher. The DRMs is +1 because of the Russia thing. A 3 is a much better outcome. It becomes a 4, but it's no matter. Yeah, the war progresses 2 to the left and the defender loses 2. 2 to the left is a win. And the defender losing 2, sort of irrelevant. They win another one. So, Hezbollah destroyed, Israel victorious in both situations. I really need these numbers that are up here, down here, but that's okay. So we pulled it off. Well, Israel did. They get another +1 AP. We'll put those there. Both of these wars are gone. Alright. We do have to deal with a major crisis, which I'll deal with in a second. We get a legacy point. So that means we go up to 20. What else? They get one strength in their favor. So they're even stronger. And we gain another. No, they got an AP, not us. Okay, so now we gotta resolve the crisis in the Middle East, and this. Holy crap, is all I have to say. There's so much to do. So much to do. What was I even doing that caused this? We're drawing cards? That's what caused all this? That's what it was. Alright, why am I not. Regional Major Crisis, page 2. So we roll. Ooh, a 1. So the stability in this region is as poor as it gets. So that turns it into a 3. The two very close allies move it back to a 1. There is a civil war, which makes it a 2. And there's a rogue state, which makes it a 3. So merge 2 level 1 terror groups into 1 level 2. If none, add a level 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Max is 5. If we're adding a level 2, that means another rogue state comes out. I thought with my military actions I cyber attacked one and I went to war with the other. Didn't we have a war going on? Or I must have changed my mind somehow. I had to have changed my mind. I saw the US versus whatever down here. And then we even progressed the war, didn't we? I think we went to war, folks. Oh my gosh. I actually cleaned it up as if. Because I forgot to put this war marker out here. So it was US versus a rogue state. Okay. The US had 8 strength, and then we increased it by at least 1. So we were at 9. I think we had a 2-to-1. Like that, all that I remember. And we did move up 1 to the left, and we reduced them by 1. I remember all that. So just a regular rogue state is a 4. And then we reduced it to a 3. So we're at, yeah. I think there was a war out here. So I should have created war 2 and 3. So my apologies. That's how we got these footprints here. Because we progressed it even. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to, I know you don't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to look at the rogue chart real quick. Israel has so many tension markers on it, I might need to go back to college to be able to count them all. And I'm wondering, how bad is Israel's chart? So like if NATO is maxed out on their dice rolls, they cyber attack Russia. If South Korea is, they try to declare war. They prepare for war. Iran, we know. Like UK does cyber attack. Japan does cyber attack. Australia supports the US. Israel destroys the Iran nuke track. So I want to keep those tension markers right where they are. and they declare war on Iran. I'm not sure I have an issue with that. I don't know if I do. All right, so anyways, that's done. That was this one here. So now we do focus national intelligence. And you can see that here. So we have two regions now. We have the Middle East and we have this one. So let's do this one first. A 9 is not a good roll. So we're higher. So that becomes an 8. We're higher, so that becomes a 7. This one does not happen. So we were able to reduce it from this to this. So we move a terror group in the region to the locating box. There is no terror group, so it doesn't do anything. That's okay. The Middle East is going to be helpful. We rolled an 8, which becomes a 7-6. And yes, we get to move one to the locating box. So we have another one up here. 2 of them there now. I guess that's something. It's just intelligence. It's not like it's going to change the outcome of the game. Any 4 diplomatic or military actions. I have a lot of stuff I want to do. First off, we're going to do summits with both countries. So we're going to do summit, and we're going to do cyber war. That's 3 of them. And then the 4th one, I haven't determined. We might try to... it's going to be a military action. We're going to move these new troops we got. We got all these new troops. We're going to put them somewhere, like here, to help us with this war. So, which one do I want to do first is the question. They're all going to take a long time. Let's start with the summit. We're going to do a summit with Russia first. Our relation with Russia improved to 2, which means we can do 2 actions with them. And I'm happy about that. The first one will be to improve relations. So let's roll. A 6. If we're willing to place an improved economy marker on them, they agree. So I'm willing to do that, so we'll take this off. And they are willing to go pro-US, so 1 mission successful. They're not at relationship 3, so some of the items are cut off from us. They could help us mediate a civil war ceasefire, improve trade, stabilize an area by removing an unstable state, and -1 regional crisis. The areas are Eastern Europe, Central South Asia, Middle East, or Central America. We do have a civil war. There's no unstable states. There is one in Central America. I think we'll try a jointly mediated civil war. And it's going to be... it could be anywhere. We're going to try the one in the Middle East. I need a low number. A 9 is not a low number. Remove any sanctions on Russia. Plus 1 Russia AP and 1 Russia influence in the region. Oof. they're going to get a base. And +1 AP. And then I don't even have a guarantee this is going to work. Oh, I do roll 1. Place trending pro-US counter on region's alignment. For one civil war, replace it with ceasefire and a UN peacekeeper. So that actually worked really well. Alright, so we get a pro-US in the region. This gets removed. And a ceasefire comes out. Alright, that was successful. So we did 2 out of 2. Roll. A 4 is good. At a 200% with a roll of 4, +3 public approval, +1 AP. Public approval is already maxed. Remove 2 tensions from Russia and put a pro-US counter on Russia. Which, the good news here is I bumped them up to a 3 and I get rid of 2 of the tension markers. It's my pleasure to do so. Okay, that was a very successful summit if you ask me. So now we're going to do a summit with China. Same deal. We're going to improve relations for the first one because we only have a relationship of 2. Let's roll. 7. We're really pushing it here. Remove any sanctions or improve their economy. I'll improve their economy. Oh, they actually did drop. I forgot about that. I was like, yeah, they don't have a... So we put one of those on. And so they agree. So we get a pro-US marker. And then for the second magic trick, we're going to try to stabilize a region. Do a ceasefire. Yeah, I'm going to go for another ceasefire. Let's do it. Roll. A 10 is not going to do it. Remove any sanctions, +1 China AP, and 1 influence in the region. This is dangerous. That's also dangerous. It does work. We got a ceasefire there. And now I got to roll. A 5 is no effect. Oh, and then I forgot. We got to put a peacekeeper on these. So there's one there. I thought there was another one that had a peacekeeper on it. Because those are actually civil wars still. Oh, right there. There's one. Yeah, I don't know how... Let's just put the civil peacekeepers next to them. I think that's the better way to do this. Okay. Well, that's something. Now we got to see what happens. We roll a 6, 2 of 2, remove 1 tension from China, and they do improve to 3. So I'm going to just keep doing that every activation phase, 2 diplomatic actions if I can, right? To do summits with them. And if I can get the relationship to go up high enough with them, then we can start using the more advanced actions to really just help control the situation in the world. Okay, so that's the 2 diplomatic ones. Now with the war one, we wanted to do a cyber attack. I mean, it would work. We have two rogue states we need to deal with here. Did I ever resolve this? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, because we rolled a 3. Yep, we merged terror groups. I mean, going to war with them is a very solid way to just destroy them outright, but it does create a lot of regional crisis issues. I'm wondering if I want to remove a influence because we got Russia and China precariously close. I can't remove, like, there's tons of influence here. I need this to go all the way up to 6 before I can start removing influence here. But see, I'm at 7, so I can just remove an influence here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I rolled a 1, and I'm going to choose Russia this time, because they were getting really close to their win condition, and they also get to go next. China's already gone. And then, yeah, I want to do a military one. And that military one, so we're not doing a cyber attack, I guess. We could reposition carriers and move Marines. We can move non-carrier forces. 1 U.S. air or ground unit, or a total of 2 intel advisors. Okay, he's got question marks there. My dog just dropped my mouse. Knocked it right out of my hand. She is a very snuggly dog. I love her very much. Makes it hard to do things sometimes. Alright. Okay, I'm getting out the original documentation. Because I don't trust this. This is really nice, but I don't trust it. It's got missing information and question marks in places that it shouldn't have. Select 1 U.S. air or ground, or a total of 2 intel/advisor units, and or special ops. You may not select an in-transit heavy. Selected units may move between CONUS, a U.S. force box in any region, and an ally box in any region. That's right, because if you're in an ally box, then your strength gets counted towards to help them with their strength. So, like, we could put troops in Israel, so Israel's always stronger. And then if it's a heavy army, it's in transit, so I'd have to do like a second action to complete the heavy army move. Now we also have carriers, and it's a total of up to 2 carriers or marine units. So like we got like North Atlantic here, which has nobody. I mean, I could put another carrier here in the Indian Ocean, so now I'm supporting the Middle East, Central South Asia, and Africa even more. And that's what I'm thinking of doing, instead of bringing ground troops, because that causes footprints. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send a second carrier and a Marine Corps, which has to go to the Harrier jet side. So, and I already have one here covering these regions. Yeah, I like that idea. So what I did was I just added 4 more points of strength. So there was 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is represented by this 8 here. I just added 4 more. So now we have 12 points of military strength. Plus, that's just bonus stuff that we got. So that's going to make this war even juicier for us. That's why I wanted to move the stuff. Um, and yeah, we got rid of an influence marker. I probably need to spend 4 turns just going bam, 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 removing these. Since I got the regional alignment up so high, I need to just get rid of all these influence markers. So the summit, though, is a different way to do it. We did not do this. SOE impact is U.S. economic assistance. I think this is where I really get the nice bonuses. Where am I at? Oh my gosh. I was supposed to be doing this. Okay. We are done. We're not over here, we're over there. So, I think that was here. Okay, we don't do SOE impact yet. We are done. So, thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.